Hey friends, as we wrap up topic 11 in our math book, we have the last few pages that kind of has us review everything that we've learned, and it's a good practice for when we take our test. So on page 654, this is a vocabulary review. And up in the corner, you have a word list, and the words are add. We all know what it means to add. It's when you take two numbers and put them together, or more than two numbers. Take some numbers and put them together, because you can add three numbers or four numbers. The word difference is what we find when we subtract. We find the difference between two numbers. It's a subtraction clue. A number chart, which is another way of saying our hundreds chart as we know it. So it's also called a number chart. Open number line, that's what this is down here, and it is a number line that has no numbers on it. The word subtract, which means to take away, right? Take two numbers and minus or subtract. And the word tens, which is one of our place value numbers. So those are all different words that go along with our chapter. So number 1 on page 654 says subtract the tens shown by the model. So we look at how many tens there are all together, and we put the number here. And then we need to subtract. How many tens did they subtract? Well, you're going to count how many are crossed out and put that number here. And then you're going to put how many tens are not crossed out. That's how many are left. Go right there. So that's one of the first things we did in topic 11. Number 2, subtract the tens shown by the model. So it's the same kind of thing here. You're going to write how many there are to start, how many tens, and then minus how many tens. So that's how many are crossed off. And then they want to know how many does that equal, how many tens are not crossed off. Okay. Number 3, circle the addition problem that can help you solve 50 minus 30. So we know that addition and subtraction being related and part of the same fact family, they have to have the same three numbers. So one of them is going to be a 50, one's a 30, and one's going to be whatever the answer is to this. 50 minus 30. So we need to circle the one that would match and be in the same fact family as those numbers. Number 4, solve 40 minus 20 using a number chart and circle the difference. So we're going to start at the 40 and we're going to go minus 20. So remember, we're going to, which way we move on a hundreds chart when we want to do minus 10, right? And then you're just going to circle the difference. So you're going to circle your answer. Wherever you land, you're going to circle that number on the hundreds chart. Number 5, use mental math to solve 70 minus 10. So that means do it in your head. So 10 less than 70 is which one of these numbers? You're going to circle the one that's correct. And number 6, solve 80 minus 50 using an open number line. Explain how you solved it using terms from the word list. So 80 minus 50, we're going to put our start number, and then we're going to remember, we're going to hop back and see where we land if we hop back 50, which is 5 tens. Okay. Then you can move on to page 655, and this is a reteach section. So this is really good practice because it tells you, it gives you a little example lesson, and then it gives you some practice. So like set A, this is the little lesson. You can subtract tens. Yay! 40 minus 30 equals, you need to subtract 30, which is 3 tens. So cross out that many tens, and they did it, and then count the tens that are left. So now they want you to use this to do the same thing over here. Cross out the tens, write the difference. So 60 minus 40, they drew 60 tens. You need to cross out 40 and write how many are left. Same with number 2. Okay, set B, you have a piece of a hundreds chart, and they want you to, it says you can use a hundreds chart to subtract tens, and they show you an example. And then over here, they want you to use this one to practice with number 3 and number 4. Use this hundreds chart to subtract 70 minus 20 and 60 minus 10. Okay, over onto the back on page 656, it's the same thing, part of the reteach. So you have a little lesson, set C, and it says you can use mental math to subtract tens, and then they want you to use mental math for number 5, 6, and 7 to solve those ones. And then set D, the last part, is thinking habits. And here's our little robot friend, and he's thinking, can I use a drawing, a diagram, table, or graph to model the problem? How can I make my model better if it doesn't work? So this is from the last part of our chapter where we had to stop and think what would be the best way to do it. So they give you that, and then they want you to write an equation to solve, use drawings or models to show your work, and they give you this little word problem. A store has 50 toy boats. They sell 10 boats. How many toy boats does the store have now? So you want to write the equation. You're going to solve that in the box and write the answer here. Okay. Then, after you've done that reteach part, I want you to try the assessment, which is another word for test, but this is not your test. It's like a practice test, and it always looks exactly like the test is going to look. So if you get this and you try it on your own and you nail it, you're going to nail the test too. Right? It's a good way of practicing. So try to do these on your own and see how you do. So number 1, you're going to use the partial 100 chart to subtract tens, and there's your 70 minus 20. So they want you to use this to find the answer, and then you're going to bubble in whatever the correct answer is. Number 2, use the place value blocks and find the difference. So 40 minus 30. So they give you 40, they want you to cross out 30 and then write what's left. And then you fill in the bubble with the correct answer. Number 3, you're going to use the open number line to solve. So here they're just showing you. These are 3 things that we learned this topic. So practice, show us that you know this. Show that you know how to do it that way. And now you're going to show that you know how to do it this way too. So 60 minus 20, you're going to put your 60 and you're going to hop back 20 and see where you land. So those are just practicing the different strategies. And then on the back, number 4, solve the problem, use any strategy, and explain why you picked that one. So 70 minus 60. Figure out what the answer is, and then tell me what you did. I picked hundreds chart because it was easier. I used an open number line. I did mental math in my head. However, I drew a picture. So you're just going to tell how you solved it. And number 5, 6, and 7 are all the same directions. Use mental math. Those are 10 less. 10 less, 10 less, 10 less. So you can fill in those numbers. And number 8 and 9, these ones you're going to use addition to solve the subtraction. So that's the other strategy we went over and didn't practice yet in our practice test. So 50 plus what equals 80. So that would be whatever the answer is, 80 minus 50. So this answer and this answer are going to be the same thing. You're just plugging the numbers in. So figure out, if you're at 50, you need to get to 80. 60, 70, 80. How many tens did you go? Figure that out. You put the number there, and then you just plug it right into there too. Same with number 9. And number 10. A store has 90 sleds. It sells 30 sleds. How many sleds does the store have left? Right, 90 sleds, 30 sleds, and then our have left clue. It says to write an equation to solve and use drawings or models to show your work. So you're going to work it out and get the answer right in here. Okay. The other pages are only if you need extra practice. If you didn't do so great on that, or you feel like you want to practice a little bit more, you can go ahead and try page 659 and 660. So these are only if you feel like you need it. But I think that if you can do these reteach pages that kind of just go over everything that we learned, and they give you a little lesson and a practice, and then if you can do this practice test page, the front and the back, then you are all set and you are ready to rock the test. Okay, so remember, if it's a nice day, feel free to take your book outside and work through some of the problems, right? You really don't need to sit at a table and do schoolwork, right? You can make it fun. All I care is that you are learning and always trying your best. How you do that and how that looks at your house is completely up to you. All right, see you later.